Content prioritization is when search engines, either publicly commoditized ones or library systems, choose what content appears before others. It works by having AI written that will use biased data or information as a base to create the AI and, assumingly unintentionally, create a process that will put the items at the top of a Google search, for example, that will suit the mainstream user, which is usually the white male is the norm. It will also use search history and paid advertising to adjust the search that appears. Examples of this would be that if you search for Korean nail salons in Google search, you may initially get ads for businesses that have the financial means to pay for the ads and push out the correct search that may be for Korean-owned salons that were close to your home, all the while posing as an unbiased technology. This has consequences for people that are already systematically oppressed by furthering the idea of the white male as the norm and the black women, for example, as a stereotype, and betrays this further to a larger audience. These algorithms play to the paying user, which normally, as I said, defaults to white and male, and their assumed likes and dislikes. The content in a Google search for Korean girls serves up the first result of a dating site to date Korean girls, and the second is, what is it like dating a Korean girl, rather than toys a Korean girl may like to buy or books they like to read. This has impacted my professional life when I am trying to hire new employees at work. When I began to start hiring employees, I was trying to find sites to post my jobs that would prioritize to job searchers and users with disabilities. Since my job is in technology and could be done remotely, this opens up the possibility to people who are not able to travel as easily or have physical disabilities. When trying to search for companies, social platforms, and places to assist in posting my job, the online search results were mostly for links to articles to guide companies to write job descriptions, but also when it looked like it was a prospect, it led to broken links. It seemed that this was not a priority or didn't have enough data to produce relevant lists of results. Although that was the case a couple years ago, this has changed dramatically in the past few years, especially during COVID. Searching recently, there are more links to places to post jobs that are not specifically for people with disabilities, but would not be hindered in the process of applying, interview, or working in this position. PageRank is a system that prioritizes search results in a Google search. It impacts my life by deciding what sites to send me to for what clothes and food I buy and where I may eat. It will also suggest certain news articles I should read before others. So the example I have is pretty minor, but I have naturally curly hair, and one of the examples of this is when I search curly hair products or curly hair styles. I've been searching for hairstyles since I was a teenager, and the results are 90% white women with straight hair that has been curled with a curling iron or very loose curls. Usually not my naturally curly hair that's corkscrew or back and forth curls. It is almost completely devoid of black or people of color with naturally curly hairstyles. Growing up, I always thought my hair was not the right kind of hair or too curly because I never saw any hairstyles that were remotely similar to my hair. I can't even imagine being a young black woman trying to find some ideas for hairstyles and searching via Google. It was clearly showing what the historical idea of curly hair was and what it was supposed to look like from a very particular perspective. When I recently searched, I found that there are more results coming up with black women or women of color with natural curly hairstyles. So I can impact PageRank by Google bombing, the term associating curly hair with terms that are commonly found on websites of black-owned hair salons. Then it would appear at the top of the page results for the search term. So if I co-opted certain terms that were found often on the websites of hair salons with curly hairstyles, it would increase the instances of these salons appearing in my search, and I may frequent the salons more than other salons. Although I could do this, it would take a lot of time and effort, which would mean that someone in a place of privilege to have extra time, a lot of Wi-Fi, and a personal computer. As Noble notes in her Yelp example, people that are usually excluded, marginalized, or misrepresented do not typically have the time or money to spend trying to correct these rankings. Although Google bombing is one way, there are so many biased algorithms, hidden ads, and collected personal data from a certain subset of people to determine PageRank and search results. That is an uphill battle to try and change the PageRank just by Google bombing. The way to change the results is to get in from the back end and begin dismantling the bias in the data and who is writing the algorithms.